In late January, Winter Storm Jonas hit the east coast of the U.S. He dropped about 2 feet of snow where we live in Virginia over the course of 2 days. I had just finished the bench project and hadn't gotten materials for the next project, so I thought while we were snowed in, I'd take care of some things around the shop until I could plow our road. First, I went through all my short scraps and sorted it all by species. I put most of the pine in a box marked for the fire pit. Last August, I'd used some gift cards to finally get myself a decent set of chisels, the reissued Stanley Sweetheart 750 series. I'd been pretty busy, so I never took the time to initially set them up, so they've just been sitting around unused until now. I flattened the backs on a piece of 320 grit sandpaper on a granite tile, then tuned up the bevel before taking them to my waterstone. My hand planes needed attention too. This is my grandfather's jack plane and I use it pretty often. I use a wire wheel on my drill press to get any light surface rust off, as well as giving it kind of a buffing. I love the way dull brass comes back to life after getting hit with the wire wheel. I scraped all the old chipping paint and finish off with the edge of one of my chisels, then I put a coat of shellac on the handle and the tote. I reassembled the plane and coated everything with a little paste wax, then turned to the iron. I sharpened my plane irons the same way I do my chisels. A search for Rob Cosman, Paul Sellers, or the Scary Sharp method will give you a more in-depth look, and everyone does it a little bit different, but the most important thing is that it takes shavings with ease. A friend of my dad's recently gave me this Stanley Bedrock No. 604 smoothing plane. These were manufactured from the year 1900 to 1943. It was in fairly good shape as far as rust goes, but it had a broken wing, the handle was split, and it needed a little restoring. I flattened the sole and the wing on the tile, then gave it the same treatment as the jack plane. While I had the whetstone out, I decided to sharpen my card scraper too. I basically followed Matt Cremona's tutorial. I'll put a link here and in the description. When I built the mobile clamp rack, it freed up a bunch of space on my French cleat wall. That's where I wanted to store my planes, so I built some stands out of scrap plywood. I was curious to see if a 90-degree screw joint would be sufficient, especially without glue, or if I'd have to engineer it a little more. Seems to be plenty sturdy. Simplicity for the win. Even though we were snowbound, it felt great to get some of the little stuff done around the shop and get a little bit organized. Thanks for watching.